You ever feel like the walls are closing in? Like your soul doesn't fit the space you're in anymore? That deep down, something is pulling you, whispering to you, shaking your foundation, and you can't explain it logically. But you know, you're not meant to stay here. It's not just restlessness. It's not boredom. It's divine agitation. Spirit-led discomfort. Because where you are is no longer aligned with who you've become. And if you ignore it, it'll get louder. Until you either break down or break through. Chosen one, this message isn't about moving cities, switching jobs, or changing houses. This is about your divine relocation, a spiritual migration that's being orchestrated in realms unseen. Your coordinates in the natural are shifting because heaven has already moved your assignment. And if you don't move with it, you'll feel stuck, stagnant, even suffocated. There's a reason your spirit no longer resonates with the same people, places, and patterns. You outgrew them. You passed that level. And now you're being summoned to higher ground, not because where you were was bad, but because it's no longer where you belong. God didn't bring you this far to plateau. You're not planted to stay buried. You're rooted to be replanted. When you're chosen, the shift isn't always external at first. It begins internally. A disconnection from comfort. A holy agitation. Your soul can't sit still anymore because your spirit is stretching toward your next. People may not understand it. They'll say you've changed, but they can't feel the pull inside you. That silent compass spinning in your chest, it doesn't point north. It points to purpose. Everything around you may seem fine, but inside, you know, it's not where your oil flows anymore. Your anointing needs new territory. The grace that carried you here won't sustain you here anymore, because grace expires when obedience is delayed. God's been nudging you, pushing you, and now He's about to move you. But understand this, spirit-led relocation is rarely neat. It's not always convenient. It often starts in chaos, confusion, closed doors, broken connections. God uses dislocation to create relocation. You may lose relationships that once felt safe. Jobs may suddenly feel unstable. Even your favorite routines won't feel fulfilling anymore. That's how heaven signals. It's time to go. And no, not everyone can go with you. Not everyone will understand. Some people were only assigned to your past location, not your next. Their presence was seasonal, not eternal. Letting go of familiar faces may hurt, but holding on to them may delay your destiny. Don't let emotional attachments chain you to expired places. This shift isn't about geography. It's about alignment. You're being placed into a new frequency, a new environment that matches your evolved spiritual blueprint. And trust me, when God moves you, it's never random. He relocates with revelation. He displaces to position you. Every disruption is preparation for elevation. So if everything in your life feels like it's breaking apart, look again. It's not breaking. It's rebuilding. You're not being punished. You're being positioned. Your assignment shifted dimensions, and now your location has to catch up. Let me be clear. Obedience is the only GPS you need. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to explain it to everyone. You don't even need to know the destination. You just need to trust the director. Spirit-led relocation is about moving before it makes sense, acting before it feels safe, trusting the map that only heaven can see. Because if you wait for certainty, you'll miss divine timing. Some doors don't stay open forever. Some alignments are time-sensitive. If God says, move, don't ask why, ask when. And when He says now, don't say later. Say yes, because your yes is the key that unlocks the supernatural favor waiting at your next stop. Right now, your future is echoing. It's calling your name. It's already prepared, but it's waiting for your movement. Your relocation isn't just for you. It's for the people assigned to meet you there. Souls that will only encounter healing through your obedience. Generations that will shift because you said yes. You weren't meant to stay where you started. You weren't born to settle. You were sent to build, to rise, to go. Every chosen one must pass through this test. Will you obey the move, even when you can't see the why? Will you walk into the unknown with nothing but faith as your luggage? Because where you're going, logic won't lead you. Faith will. Favor will. Fire will be. And now, as you step further into this journey, let's talk about something crucial: the resistance. Because anytime heaven authorizes movement, hell organizes opposition. The moment you get the call to relocate, distractions multiply. Delays show up. Doubts start whispering. And suddenly, the move that once felt so clear begins to feel uncertain. That's not a sign to stop. That's confirmation you're on the right track. Opposition is often the enemy's last attempt to trap you in a place God is trying to move you out of. His goal: delay your obedience long enough that the window of favor closes. But the devil is a liar, and you're not moving by emotion, you're moving by instruction. Every chosen one must learn to recognize the tactics sent to keep them stuck. Fear of starting over, attachment to comfort, overthinking the how. All of these are illusions, spiritual smokescreens meant to blur your faith. But you've come too far to turn back now. You've survived too much to let fear paralyze you. Let's be real. When God tells you to leave something that still works, it messes with your logic. Why walk away from a stable job, a comfortable relationship, a predictable environment? Because your spirit knows what your eyes can't yet see. God removes you before the collapse. He redirects you before the drought. You're not just being pulled, you're being protected. Chosen one, sometimes the shift will feel like loss before it feels like victory. You may grieve what you're leaving behind. That's okay, but don't stay there. Don't let the emotional residue of your past location weigh down your next season. Grieve if you must, but go anyway. God is clearing space around you. Don't mislabel isolation as abandonment. Sometimes He has to isolate you to recalibrate you, to detox your soul from distractions, to prepare you for what's coming. Because where you're going requires a different you, and that version of you only emerges through surrender. Hear this. Your relocation isn't just physical or even spiritual. It's dimensional. You're entering a new frequency, one where the old ways of thinking, surviving, and operating no longer apply. What worked before will fail now. You're not upgrading your life. You're being reborn into divine assignment, and that kind of shift costs everything that isn't aligned. That's why you've been feeling like you don't fit anywhere lately. Because you don't. You're not meant to blend in. You're being called out, pulled out, set apart. The scenery around you is fading because your assignment is transitioning. What once felt familiar now feels foreign. That's not confusion. That's calibration. You're being tuned into your new coordinates. And in this season, God may not give you the full picture. He'll give you one step, then another. It's not a map. It's a breadcrumb trail. Because this journey isn't about control. It's about trust. You don't need all the details to move. You just need divine instruction and spiritual sensitivity. If you're waiting for every light to turn green before you go, you'll never move. God doesn't move by traffic lights. He moves by faith signals. And right now, your signal is glowing. The relocation has already begun in the spirit. Now it's time to align in the natural. And here's the wild part. Once you take that leap, doors that were sealed tight will swing open. Provision will meet you on the road. The right connections, opportunities, breakthroughs, they're not coming to your current location. They're waiting at your next. Heaven has already forwarded the favor. You just have to show up to receive it. But don't expect applause. Some people will criticize the move. They'll say you're being irrational, unstable, impulsive. Let them talk. They weren't in the room when God whispered instructions. They didn't cry the tears you cried when you knew it was time to shift. They didn't feel the fire in your gut every time you stayed somewhere your spirit had already outgrown. You don't owe them understanding. You owe God obedience. Now let's go deeper into what happens after you obey. When you finally step out, leave behind the familiar. Step into that new territory, raw and unsure, but led by Spirit. You'll notice something strange. You'll begin to attract things, people, and moments that feel like they've been waiting on you. Divine alignment shows up like destiny appointments. It won't make sense logically, but spiritually, it'll feel like home. You won't need to force anything. In your new location, favor flows. Struggle doesn't mean you're in the wrong place, but peace that surpasses logic is the signature of heaven's guidance. You'll know you're in the right place not because it's easy, but because even in difficulty, there's alignment. This move will awaken parts of you that were dormant. Your gifts will reactivate. Your clarity will return. Vision sharpens in divine territory. That's why the enemy tried so hard to keep you in the wrong place. Because as long as you were misaligned, you were spiritually distracted. Now you're stepping into legacy, into divine positioning, into impact. This relocation wasn't random. It was the fulfillment of your assignment. You weren't just moving to a new space. You were being planted for purpose.